And welcome back to the K&H Ford PBA Eastern Original here from ABC West Lanes in Mechanicsburg. And we're ready for our first match, Gary, between Parker Bohn III and veteran Arnie Goldman.
Parker, he's a very aggressive bowler. He has a high backswing, very little slide. And Arnie, who's up there now, is very quick approach, as you see, with a bent elbow.
34-year-old Arnie Goldman starts it off by cleaning the rack.
Well, certainly a way you need to do it. He laid the ball right out there and let the ball finish hard. He was our fourth leading qualifier, so it was his choice whether to start or not. He chose to start so he could finish. You see that ball whipping right in there at the end and taking all 10 pins into the pin deck.
And now here's Parker Bohn III from Freehold, New Jersey.
Parker, he was the leader from the 5th game to the 9th game.
And next to start it off, 3 lefties out of 5 bowlers here in the final, and that's very rare. Usually the left-handers have that side of the lane pretty much to their lonesome.
There's only 18% left-handers, so having 3 out of 5 is very uncommon. And basically, since us that do the lanes are right-handed here, we get accused sometimes doing for the right-handers.
You're a little biased.
So this shows that, you know, we're fair. Maybe more than fair.
Parker's 26 years of age, 6 years as a PBA member, and he's off with a double.
Fantastic, just fantastic. He's bowled so well these last 2 days.
Some of you in York might remember Parker won the Eastern Regional there at Suburban Lanes about 3 years ago.
Deep concentration, you see that ball going again, all 10 pins into the pit.
Arnie Goldman, this is his 3rd appearance in the televised finals, and he is off with a double as well.
Yes, this is just fantastic. Of course, they've been throwing nothing but strikes. It took a 230 average in order to make the cut for the top 20. They started out with 230 bowlers on Saturday. The top 20 came back this morning. They each bowled 12 games, and now we're down to the top 5.
You mentioned that 230 average. Last year, the final, the average, I think, was 210, 212.
212 was the average last year to make the top 20. So you can see the scores are very much up from last year.
And Arnie Goldman a little light, leaving the 3-9.
When he left that go, you could see he didn't like the shot at the line. The ball just hung out there and didn't quite finish for him, leaving up the 3-9. See this ball now as it goes out there. A little bit off balance there. The pin goes in between, leaving up the 3-9. Little tough spare with that blind pin. That's the right way to play it. Way outside across, but broke too much.
So an open in the 3rd for Arnie Goldman at 56 through 3. Parker Bohn with a double to start things off.
Parker has a 14-pin lead, and we'll see. All good bowlers have a tendency to jump on their opponents when they get that break. That's the way to do it. We'll see if he does that. At deep concentration, you'll see this deep knee bend at the line, gets way down.
And a little high, and gets a trip there, which makes it a little bit more difficult.
Very difficult. He'll have to fit that ball in between the 2 and 7 now in order to convert this spare and hold a 12-pin lead. Well, we got this game started off. Both players throwing strikes. The minute the one stops, the other one stopped.
And this by far the best year of Parker Bohn's 5-year PBA career. He has won the last 2 regionals that he's been in, has had 5 TV appearances this year, and here on television today he also opens in the 3rd. So each bowler with 56 through 3 frames.
Just like that, we got an even ball game.
I understand Parker's wife Mary is in the crowd today, and she is expecting a baby in October, so we'll be watching her throughout the match today, hoping her husband can bring home $3,200 first prize today.
See that deep concentration, knee bend. Look at this commit. What a shot. What a shot.
Winner of this match will go on to take on Mark Bowers of Aberdeen, Maryland, number 3 bowler on the ladder today.
See, once again, swings that left leg right over. Ball comes in. You see that 4 take out the 7.
Arnie just a little bit of a thud at the line there and leaves a 6-pin.
6-pin was wiggling for him. It got hit from behind, but just didn't quite fall over. Arnie was our leader yesterday. He had 230.
He is the owner of the Red.
Teams were at 250 average to be the leader after Saturday.
Each of our bowlers have 4 to their credit in their careers. As you mentioned, an 8-year difference between the two. Arnie's 34 and Parker 26 years of age.
Still have an even game. See if Arnie can get a strike here to get a string started for him. Arnie was very consistent yesterday. His low game was 234 and his high game 260.
Fifth frame for Arnie Goldman. And the 2-4.
Very bad shot. Raised up the line, laid the ball short. Ball just came right up high. See this? Ball starts real early for him, comes through the nose, leaving a 2-4.
And he flattens it out to convert the spare.
He really straightened that ball out. He has a tendency to rush his shot. You see, he has that very quick approach.
And Parker Bohn III here in the fifth frame, 56 through 3, and a strike working on the fourth.
This would be tough for Parker if he lost, because Parker bowled so good the first match, and Arnie followed him. When he saw Parker bowl so well, he drilled a ball just like Parker's. And here today, now they're facing each other in this match.
And a real tough spare here, leaving the 3, 4, 6, and 7.
Very difficult. We'll have to see if he can slide it over as he wipes the oil off his ball to get that fresh track. Takes that deep concentration. High backswing. Looks like he got it.
And he gets it off the wall. Don't see that very often. Not only getting it, but getting it and making it.
That was a fantastic shot. Fantastic. Even the pros have very difficult time converting something like this. And you see the pin. 2 just slides right over into the 4. Amazing.
Now, performance level for some people who might be watching this for the first time, what's the difference between these bowlers you see and the ones you'll see on the national tour on a regular basis?
Well, basically, the ones on the national basis stay out on the tour. They had 15 or more of their tournaments, and they have to cash in 2 of these regional tournaments in order to make it out there. So we see a lot of the young and up-and-coming stars bowling the regionals today that you'll see out on the tour tomorrow.
And an X for Parker Bohn in the 7th. Make that the 6th frame.
And Parker is leading by 2 pins. I'm not sure what Arnie's been doing here, but he's now getting up and ready to bowl with that 2-pin deficit.
He's back in the crowd a little bit and couldn't quite see what he was doing here, but now he's ready to go here in the 6th frame.
Well, it appears he switched balls.
Okay.
Came up a little bit weak, leaving that 7-pin.
Came back shaking his head as if he knew what he was doing wrong.
Now he's switching to his harder ball so he can go right straight at the spare and make the 7-pin. As you see, he takes very little time. Right into his approach when he picks up that ball.
Arnie Goldman now with 93 through 5 and the spare here in the 6th frame.
Well, he started out with that quick double and hasn't thrown a strike since the 2nd frame. So we'll see what he can do this time. Needs to get something started. Looks good.
And he runs them all in lane 43 there with a strike in the 7th frame. He has 113 through 6.
Now this is where Parker can capitalize. He can now increase his lead to 13 pins if he can strike here. He's been hitting 43 every time, but this is the lane that has given him trouble. He's come up high on this lane the last 2 times in a row in lane 44. Taking a little bit of extra time. Got it out this time.
And he brings it back in to clean him off. Little light, but it did the job.
Beautiful shot, beautiful shot. Takes a lot of guts after you come up high 2 times in a row to lay the ball out there and let the ball do the work. And that's what you have to do. Let the ball do the work. You see now he's wiping that oil off his ball again. Blowing in the thumb hole. Thumb might be just a little bit tight, so put a little air in there so he can slide his thumb in easier.
Parker averaged 239 this week. And again, the 2 and 7.
That's the lane he's been so successful with, too. He's thrown 3 strikes in a row in 43. Finally got a good shot on 44 to get us something started, and he threw a bad shot in 43. He needs to convert this spare in order to keep the lead.
The balls you hear rolling off at the distance are the numbers 2 and 3 men on the ladder, who you'll meet a little bit later on. Parker Bohn here in the 8th frame, and again, only the 7.
He didn't get too much of the 7-pin, but he still missed the 2. It came in so late behind the 2-pin that he didn't make it.
So a chance to break it open, which he does not capitalize on, and Arnie Goldman is right back in this match.
Arnie is now up a pin by not even bowling. He's putting a little tape in his thumb hole now. He must have felt that he lost the ball a little bit his last shot. So to get that better grip on the ball, A little bit of extra tape in there.
113 through 6, a strike in the 7th, and a 9 count in the 8th frame.
His ball didn't make it up the hill either, leaving the 3-pin. See the shot here, that quick release. The ball goes out to the left, just doesn't quite make that turn.
Again, the harder ball to convert the spare, and he covers the 3 in the 8th frame.
The other gentleman to roll 300 games in this tournament was Willie Willis from West Haven, Connecticut, and Ken Yukabaski, what a name, right? From Fairfield, New Jersey. I still had trouble pronouncing.
And a strike for Arnie Goldman here in the 9th frame, and he puts a little pressure on now, leading with 153 through 8 in the strike there to fill the 9th frame.
Definitely was a big shot, because now this way, no matter what Parker does, Arnie can still win. If Parker strikes out, he is 212. Arnie can strike out for 213. Very big shot.
4 steps, and down they go.
Well, as all good bowlers do, when they get the pressure put on them, they come back and put pressure on the man himself. Now, this is a big shot for Parker. So if Parker can get a strike here, then he's going to force Arnie to have to strike on his first ball in the 10th.
Parker's the only one of our 5 that has won on the national tour. He took the Columbia 300 Open in Seattle back in 1987.
And he does have the more TV experience, so we'll see if that experience pays off. Deep concentration.
Trying to go into the 10th, working on a double, and he does.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot.
When you watch his shots, you see that nice deep knee bend at the line.
Long stride there right at the end. You see that ball comes in there, and when all 10 pins go in the pit, you know it's a fantastic shot. Just beautiful. Needs to get this strike now in order to force Arnie to have to get 2 in the 10th. And 2 in the 10th is a lot tougher than 1.
Parker Bohn for 3 in a row.
He's got it out.
Got it.
I think I seen him down there by lane 1.
Well, the other lanes are vacant now, and he's on 43, so if he gets this one, he may run them all.
Yeah, you have to watch here if you can see him run this one out. But he's going. That ball is in there, and guess he got out of view of our cameras. We couldn't quite pick him up. He got back here in time to make his last shot.
So he's at 182 through 9. 2 strikes in the 10th, and will it be a 3rd?
Still
a little light.
It was still a key shot because Arnie would have needed all 3 strikes in the 10th.
One time when make that an 8 count, pardon me. 8 count there gives him 210.
I didn't see that pin fall over at the last minute either, so, but when I looked up, it wasn't there.
Okay, so now Arnie Goldman's going to finish on 44. He's at 153 through 8, and he loaded up with a strike in the 9th frame.
What has distracted Arnie here is on 43. For whatever reason, the rake came down, so he pushed the reset button in order to get the rake back up. You want all the conditions to be the same as they were before your other shots. You don't need any distractions.
Took just a little bit more time with this opening shot here in the 10th frame, and here she comes.
Well, as we say, all good bowlers, when they need a strike, they take that extra time to concentrate, and a lot of times they can get it. Took that little bit more time. See this ball really coming in there, mixed the pins on the right side. Very key shot here. He must get this strike and then 8 in order to win. This strike and 8. It's quick release.
Got to be in the pit, and they are.
I didn't think that was quite going to make it back there, but it did. Must have 8. Now we'll see what kind of a key shot that was for Parker that he didn't get a strike in his very last shot. Just fall. Goes right out at that edge, comes in there, almost 10 in the pit. Left 1 on the lane.
Needing a 7. Arnie Goldman on 44, and a 9 will do.
Got enough. Got enough.
212 for Arnie Goldman. And that's the winner of our first match. So Arnie Goldman will now move on to take on Mark Bowers from Aberdeen, Maryland, in match number 2.
Call this toll-free number now.
The NRA has the same beliefs that I do. They have the same interests that I do. And that's why I belong to the NRA.
Welcome back to match number 2 of the PBA Eastern Regional, and it will be Arnie Goldman, the winner of our first match, defeating Parker Bohn III, 212 to 210, and Arnie moves on to take on Aberdeen, Maryland's own Mark Bowers.
Mark Bowers, who throws the ball hard. He really turns the ball with a lot of loft.
And Arnie's going to have the opportunity to start off here, and he'll open on 43. Seems very impatient, and I would think that would be the product of winning his first match and wanting to get the second one on the road.
I believe so. He's still playing around with his ball a little bit with the tape. We'll see how he gets started here. The incoming players, they get 4 practice shots when they come in and they get started.
Steers it in there, and there's the 7th.
Just a little bit late. Ball coming in behind the head pin. The 4 went out around the 7. Picks up his other ball, which goes almost straight down the lane after you watch his first one break. Hard rubber ball. Thought it might be a little too straight.
Nah, measured it, and a spare in the first frame for Arnie Goldman, and now Mark Bowers, who averaged an even 240 this week and was 6-6 in his match play.
Mark Bowers, he took the lead today after the first game and held it for the first 2, and then he lost the lead to Jeff Winterstein after game 3 today.
A little high, and the 7 stands alone.
Wow, what a shot that was. 4 pin went right in front of the 7. It was so full in that pocket, the pin blew right across the lane. You see how hard he throws, how that ball whips in there at the end, and that pin just went out around.
And like Arnie Goldman, different ball for spares, same result.
All even match after 1 frame. Might want to congratulate our Pro-Am winners here in our youth group. Missy Croft won the 11 and under, and Steve Hawes and Nathan Buck tied to win the 12 and over. And in the adult division, Doug Grove won in the Pro-Am.
Bowers on 43. In the pocket.
Just a fantastic bowler. Maybe the right-handers will have an edge today, since there's just 2 right-handers and 3 lefties. So maybe that will reverse itself today. Normally it's the left-handers that have the advantage.
Now, Arnie Goldman, who lists Roseville, Michigan, or Long Island, New York as his hometown, traveling man here on 44. And a washout.
Wow, he really rushed that shot. Really rushed. And you very seldom see the ball has to break sharp at the end in order to take the 2 pin out of the middle and still leave the 1-4 up there. See if he can convert this. It's a very difficult spare conversion.
1, 3, 4, 6, and 7, and not only does he miss it, but he leaves only a 7 count, so not a good frame for Arnie Goldman.
Not a good frame at all. He's now trailing by 18 pins after 2 frames.
And we talked about how he has a tendency to rush a shot. The bowlers do have a time limit that they have to execute the shot, do they not?
That is correct. They must bowl within 25 seconds. They have 25 seconds after the bowler leaves the approach to pick up their ball and bowl.
3rd frame for Arnie Goldman, and another split to work with, a 3, 5, and 10.
He's just not coming out of that ball well at all. You can see he was shaking his head after he left that shot. He's topping the ball. The ball's just spinning down the lane, not driving in for him. Leaving another difficult spare. This case, it's a split. And if he doesn't convert this split, then he's going to be trimmed by 29 pins, and that will be tough. But a nice conversion. Very nice.
In the 3rd, Arnie Goldman, 22 through 2, and that spare in the 3rd frame.
Okay, watch his shot as he lets that ball go. See that ball coming over nice, covering, going right between the 3 and the 10 with the ball, and the 3 taking out the 5.
Now Mark Bowers working on a strike from the 2nd frame. In she comes.
Wow, this is hard to believe. He's getting all that power on the ball using a white dot, which is a very hard plastic ball. That's how much he turns the ball with the break he's getting in. You see him let that ball go in the air. Finish is fantastic.
You can see his hand when he releases the ball just whip right through.
After 3 frames, Mark is leading by 28 pins. See if Mark can bury another, and he's thrown all good shots so far.
Working on a double, a little light, almost the 7 and 10, and instead he leaves only the 10.
This ball came in just a little late for him. It wasn't as powerful as the other shots that came in. He almost left the 7-10 up, but the 7 fell late. and the 5 hit the 10, but didn't quite knock it out for him.
And he converts the spare in the 4th frame. So Mark Bowers 69 through 3 and a spare in the 4th. We are live from ABC West Lanes in Mechanicsburg. It's the 1989 K&H Ford PBA Eastern Regional.
Arnie, when he's not bowling, I'm not sure where he's going.
Even though he won that first match, he kind of limped through it as far as he never seemed settled into his bowling ball.
Right. That was a good shot there, though. Maybe what he did this time is going to correct things. He's trailing by 27 after 4. This ball even hung out over the edge, as you see here, over the edge further than his other shots, but it got back there just in time to take all 10 pins into the pit. He's got to start making up ground, though. He can use the strike here very badly.
Arnie had a double in the first game and also a triple in the first game, and there's 2 in a row.
Well, once again, Arnie hung that ball right out over the edge, and this time I didn't think he was going to get back, but the ball got back, mixed the pins up, just got them all out of there, and now he trails by 17.
Here's Mark Bowers. Big turn at the back end, and here comes the ball.
Wow. I'll tell you. I never threw a hook that big. I don't know how these guys can do that, and they do it with hard equipment. See that loft in the air out over the edge? That ball just hits in there. Just takes him right out.
So Mark Bowers threw 5 frames with a pair of strikes on 44 and 1 on 43, which he is on right now.
He's throwing 2 good shots on this lane, though. That a little bit more loft, and it got back.
Yeah, blows him right out of there.
I'm glad we got the plastic lanes here instead of the wood ones, because you can't damage plastic lanes no matter how far you loft the ball down there in the air. See if Arnie can stay in this game here by getting a strike to get back within 17.
For number 3 in a row.
Must have been good. He clapped his hands, started running it out. He wasn't as quick on his feet as Parker was in the first game running one out, but he runs her out. Good shot. Finished full in the pocket.
Well, after he throws a good ball, he comes back looking like he's really up to something. Looks like he's got something up his sleeve here.
He can get to within 7 if he can strike here.
And that's 4 in a row for Arnie Goldman.
Now that time he had the arm going, telling the ball to hurry up in the pocket, hurry up.
So Mark Bowers, who started strongly, all of a sudden has a little pressure on him.
Just amazing how this game is. To watch Arnie throw that 2nd and 3rd frame, it looked like he was completely out of it. And then he comes back and throws 4 great shots in a row.
And there's 3 great shots in a row by Mark Bowers.
Mark doesn't want to let him catch up, and I don't blame him. Once Parker left him, Arnie catch up, Arnie took over and didn't give the lead back, so you don't want to relinquish the lead to Arnie.
And Mark with a 17-pin lead here through 5 frames, each bowler with strikes in the 6th and 7th, and this is Mark Bowers' 8th frame.
Mark needs us to keep the pressure on. Open the lead back up to 27 pins for him.
Flips it out there, a little bit straighter, a little bit more, but he did the job.
Well, I don't know what happened here all of a sudden. We got off to fast starts. The first game, strikes being thrown, and ended with strikes being thrown. And this game got off to a little bit of a slow start, and now all of a sudden we're seeing nothing but strikes. Arnie needs us to get back to within 17 pins again.
And he runs out 5 in a row.
Amazing.
Well, right now, Arnie Goldman needs a break because with the open frame he had in the 2nd, considering the strikes he has, he needs Mark Bowers to make a mistake.
Well, he has to get that strike here. He has to get a strike for him. And then he has to hope that Mark quits striking. So it's very important here for Arnie. He almost has to get this strike. Looks good.
And again, 6 in a row for Arnie Goldman. 162 through 7, but for now, not good enough.
Just amazing, really amazing. Hangs that ball right out on the edge. See that come in there? Wow. So all I can say is, wow, the way they're bowling.
Mark Bowers looks like he's throwing a little bit bigger hook here on 44 and straighten the ball a little bit more on 43. That time, he rolled his 43 ball, so to speak.
Right, he didn't give that ball any room at all. He went real straight at the pins, came up very high in the pocket, leaving the 4-pin. In a way, it was very, very fortunate to only leave the 4. Can see right away he got his body turned at the line. As a result, he came up high, laid the ball short. And that Maybe the opening that Arnie needed.
Plays it straight on instead of cross lane, but he gets the job done at 198 through 8 and a spare working in the 9th.
Right now, Mark is ahead by 6, and Arnie's in the same position as he was the first game. If Mark strikes out, he is 248, and Arnie can strike out for 252. So no matter what Mark does, Arnie can still win the game. Mark needs that strike, though, to keep the pressure on Arnie.
Gets it out there and gives it the room it needs, and there they go.
That was the shot he needed last frame. Just didn't get it. Needs this shot very bad, because this way he will force Arnie to have to get his first 2 shots in the 10th. Right now, Arnie has to get the first one.
Off in the distance, you heard the ball of Doug Kent from Canandaigua, New York. He will be bowling the winner of this match.
Bowlers are very tough. After that first game, I thought maybe we weren't going to get high scores.
Yeah.
After that's been high scoring all along.
Somebody might have thought we didn't know what we were talking about. They were big scores this week. Take my word for it.
As you saw, Mark came through with that big shot. Big shot. See here, the ball whips right in there. All 10 in the pit. Needs this one to get 248 to force Arnie to get 2 strikes and 7 to win. Big shot.
Mark Bowers, 248 with this strike, and he comes up high and make that a 245.
Well, he did the same thing Parker did. He got those first 2 in the 10th, but couldn't come through at the last one.
Well, that opens the door a little wider for Arnie Goldman to step in.
Arnie controls his own destiny here. He needs 2 strikes and 4 to win the match. Has to get the first 2, though. Got that good concentration.
Needs the first X to set it up, and oh, a little high.
He clapped his hands. I think he thought he had a good shot. It did look like he went a little bit straighter. And as a result, the most he can get is 231, and Mark will be our winner with 245.
So 6 strikes in a row for Arnie Goldman will not be good enough today.
You may wonder, but Mark is no relation to Darryl May. He has an S on his name.
Okay.
That second frame for Arnie ended up being fairly costly. He not only lost a lot of pins in count, but having that open frame just really hurt him. See if he can get a strike to finish us out with a 231 game. Still a nice game, but in this case, not good enough.
And he runs them all. 231 for Arnie Goldman, but losing to Mark Bowers, 245, and it's on to match number 3, Bowers against Doug Welcome back to match number 3 of our stepladder finals here from the PBA Eastern Regional in Mechanicsburg. And this is Scott Bradley along with Gary Bauer, and it's Doug Kent against Mark Bowers here in match number 3, the winner to take on our leader, Roger Kossert, in the championship.
Doug Kent, he stays down at the line, plants the foot, has very good reach, very smooth bowler, good person to watch and copy.
Doug averaged 242 this weekend, was 7-5 in match play.
In fact, these two gentlemen bowled each other before. In fact, they bowled each other the last game before our TV show got started, with Doug winning 279 to 248.
And starts out on a good note. 22-year-old Doug Kent from Canandaigua, New York, with a strike to bring on Mark Bowers.
Well, to be that young again, huh?
Hey, yeah. Now I can say that. Yeah. Mark Bowers coming off at 245 to beat Arnie Goldman in our last match. And
Wow.
Starts off a little high, but
Wow.
it breaks out the 4.
This ball was going high all the way. You could see it's pretty straight and let it go, but it came up high. The 2-pin came off the wall and took out the 4-7 to give him that strike.
The last game he started out with a ringing 7-pin, and this time he almost left a ringing 4-pin, but he drove it out of there.
Throws a very powerful ball, no doubt about it. Yep, here we go again.
From Mark Bowers. This guy had a double and also had 4 in a row the last game, and a double in the 10th frame as well. Close out Arnie Goldman, who rang up 6 in a row, but not good enough on this day.
Arnie had done to him what he did the first game. First game he struck out to win. This time Mark struck out to beat him. Very smooth approach. See a nice arm swing, plants that foot.
Right over the second arrow, and all they go.
An even ball game. See this ball finish light. Ball comes in there. You can actually see that 5 is blocked out, but the 7-pin was taken out by the 2. He uses rosin on his ball to make sure he can get his hands in there, that everything's dry on the ball, so he gets that better grip. Takes his time.
Doug Kent trying to start this one off with 3 in a row.
Good reach.
In the pit.
Well, we had a lot of 300 games during the past 2 days. Maybe we'll have 2 against each other right here.
Yeah, so it's not too early to mention something like that. 2 in a row and 3 in a row is not too early. Big scores this week.
Boy, these fellows are throwing.
Mark Bowers. Rifles it out of there, and there they go.
Wow. I thought he was going to come up there high again. He was very high in the pocket. This time the ball settled back more for him, and all 10 pins right in the pit.
Mark is 26 years of age, and Doug Kent just 22. So a couple of youngsters here, and as you mentioned before, that's basically what you'll get in these regionals for the most part.
For the most part, right. The up-and-coming stars. Nice shot.
And 4 in a row for Mark Bowers.
He jumps back to a 10-pin lead in the 4th frame. We'll see if Doug can get a strike here to come back and be all even. Takes that deep breath, which is always good to do before a shot, especially if you feel a little tight or a little tense. Blows on his fingers to make sure that his hand's dry. Could get a little sweaty out there, especially when you're bowling for the money that they are. Nice approach.
Sent that one a little bit closer to the channel than the previous 3 balls, and that time comes up with a 10-pin.
Right, he just didn't stay behind that ball as well. Didn't stay behind it, keep the fingers underneath. As a result, the ball slid further down the lane, further out to the right, came in very late. That's why I left the 10-pin. The pin was coming across the lane, but very, very softly. Just wasn't rolling hard enough to come over and take it out the 10.
Unlike the other bowlers you've seen, Mark, or Doug rather, will use his same ball to shoot the spare here in the 44 lane.
Again, he's using the white dot, which is a hard ball, and basically the bowlers, the way the lanes snap at the end, they've been using harder equipment.
So a spare for Doug Kent in the 4th, 79 through 3, plus that spare, and Mark Bowers, again, 4 in a row.
Just amazing. Now, see, these guys are using soft equipment. And yesterday when I bowled in the tournament, or hard equipment, I was using my softest ball. Just makes me wonder sometimes. I must not be doing the right thing anymore.
Doing something wrong, Gary. Doing something wrong.
I did manage to finish 52nd in cash, but I didn't manage to be out here today. At least bowling.
That's why we say, unfortunately, we have to work with you. 99 through 4 for Doug Kent in the strike. Here's Mark Bowers.
Mark can stretch his lead to 21 pins if he can get a strike here. And he's got them all so far this game. Took a 215 average to cash in the tournament this week.
Wow. And it was a bucket, and instead it's just a 2-pin.
Very lucky. It's much easier to make a single pin spare than to make 2 or 3 pins up there. See, the ball is very light. He really rushed the shot. The 5-pin just barely falling back, leaving this 2. Convert this spare, have a 10-pin lead. Waste no time on that.
Hit it twice, too. once extra for good measure.
One of these times, one might pop up down there and stand up after he's knocked it down.
And we are live from ABC West Lanes here in Mechanicsburg. This is Scott Bradley along with Gary Bauer, and today we're deciding the finals of the ABC, or rather the PBA Eastern Regional, sponsored by K&H Ford.
Wow.
Boy.
Wow.
One of those pins wanted to stand, but it just didn't have a say in the matter.
You have to see this ball to believe it. Lets that ball go. He's got extra loft on this ball. Goes right out there, and look at this thing go in. You can see that 6-pin hit the 10-pin straight across. Now Doug can even this game up. If he gets a strike here, we'll have an even game. Takes that good concentration.
Very deliberate approach, right in the pocket.
Look good. There is no doubt about it. Nothing fancy about Doug's ball. Gets to the line well. Ball comes right in there. Amazing.
Doug Kent now with 99 through 4, and a double here takes him into the 7th frame.
Again, you see him using that rosin, putting over the thumb hole. He has an insert in the thumb to help him hold on. And he wipes it off with his towel. A lot of times when a game gets close, in order to take your time a little bit more, you do that.
This would be Doug's 2nd regional title should he go on and win this match and in the finals. Mark Bowers has yet to win a regional championship, and a count of 8 for Doug Kent in the 7th frame.
Well, that hurt. He had his chance to take the lead. He's now going to be trailing by 2. Hopefully we'll be able to make this fair without any trouble. It's a 2-4. Shouldn't have any trouble in making this conversion. He has all the basic fundamentals you need to score. Good concentration.
And he pulls it. Boy, not happy with that ball at all.
No, he laid that ball way to the left.
So 155 through 7 frames for Doug Kent. And this is Mark Bauer's big opportunity here in the 7th.
Mark can now stretch his lead to 24 pins with a strike here.
This is the only frame he has, or only lane he has not struck on every time, and he answers it for you in 44.
Great shot. Really a great shot. Probably wiping some sweat from his ear right now, but that ball goes right in there. All 10 pins in the pit.
7 frames, 6 strikes for Mark Bowers. Trying to make it 3 in a row here into the 8th frame.
This would make it very, very difficult for Doug if Mark gets a strike here. It'd be 34-pin lead to make up for 3 frames.
Mark Bowers is rolling a hot ball right now.
No doubt about it. He's had every ball in the pocket this game. See a good concentration, whips that arm through, turns the body to the right, and that ball comes in, and all 10 pins go off the lane. Doug had better get a strike here.
Doug Kent coming off an open frame, and he lays it in there.
Good
ability to recover.
Good follow through. See, he's real firm at the line. That right foot's way over to the left. Ball comes in and gets a strike. Now he can cut this deficit down to 24 pins with a strike here. Must have a strike. See that big hole in his ball? That's so that he can get even weight on his ball, taking all the side weight out. And still that ball turns.
And a necessary double for Doug Kent to take him into the 10th frame.
Doug still has a possible 245 that he's going to make Mark have to mark at least a 2 frame. But you see this ball go out to the edge, come in. The 8 and 10 were the last 2 pins out, but the main thing was they fell.
Now Mark Bowers here trying to load up in the 9th frame. A little full, but it carries.
Very important shot for Mark. Now, in order to win this game, Mark has to at least get 8 pins on this first ball. What a strike. What a powerful ball that man throws.
8 strikes in 9 frames, and the only ball that wasn't a strike was a 10 pin.
And even with all those strikes, he still has to at least get 8 pins on this ball. At least 8 in order to win.
And that looks like 8. And it's 9. Almost
enough.
spoke too soon. Almost. Good enough today. Mark Bowers will be in the 240s.
Well, this is the winning shot here. See, Mark, he helps that a little bit, just pushes a little bit out there instead of staying underneath, but he gets a 9, and that's all he needed. Now he's got 246, and the most that Doug can get is 245.
Nice wide pin there, gives him 250 something.
I guess he knew he had that one because he didn't cover that pin by very much.
So Mark Bowers is going to move on to our championship match, and well, if you're tired of the right-handers, we have another left-hander coming up here in the finals in Roger Kossert.
Roger was our 1985 champion. That was the first tournament we ever had here at ABC West.
And a 10 to get himself set up for that championship match, and Mark Bowers rolls a 258.
Going up the step ladder here, Parker Bohn, he qualified 5th and ended 5th. Arnie Goldman qualified 4th and ended 4th. Doug Kent, he qualified 2nd, and he will end up 3rd.
And a strike in the 10th frame gives him 3 in a row, and 185 for 8.
The matches keep getting higher scoring. Big expectations for this final match.
As we mentioned, the averages have been higher all week. Mark Bowers averaged 240. Roger Kossert averaged 245.
It's hard to dream bowling that every game.
Oh, yeah. So Doug Kent's going to be in the 230s. Again, not good enough today.
234 if he can make this spare. Left a weak 10 pin that time, just coming in behind the head pin. I was informed that our Pro-Am, we had 186 entries, and it was the 2nd largest this year for the PBA.
That's great. That was rolled on Friday night. So Doug Kent rolls a 234 to Mark Bowers' 258. Mark Bowers, Roger Kossert. It is championship time in the K&H Ford 1989 PBA Eastern Regional. Mark Bowers, 26 years of age, from Aberdeen, Maryland, coming off a 245 and a 258 to take on left-hander Roger Kossert, 36 years of age, from Evans City, PA. Our top seed averaged 245 this week. And obviously the question here is, can Roger quickly get it in gear against a guy who's had 2 solid games under his belt?
Well, we'll see. Roger has had it this weekend so far. We'll see if he can come through with it again today.
Now, Roger had a 9-3 record in match play, as opposed to Mark Bowers' 6-6, plus his 2-0 today, technically. So he's 8-6. Roger's definitely been the stronger bowler during the week.
Roger had 2 299 games and 2 825s here. It's amazing that he could have had both in 2 days.
Now Mark Bowers to start off our championship match with a count of 8.
Very light. That ball just slid right out there. Leaving the 2-8, which isn't a very easy spare. You got that blind pin, but his ball hooks so much to the left at the end. All he's got to do is nip that 2 pin.
He could hit the 2
right
on the
side.
nose and miss the spare. That's how strong his ball is. And that should drive right on through.
This is where you see the power shooter against the smooth bowler here. See this ball, and it snaps there right at the end, taking out the 2-8. What a break he has at the end of his ball.
Now left-hander Roger Kossert. 5 bowlers in our step-ladder finals, 3 are lefties, and it'll be left versus right here to decide the tournament.
Roger has that smooth approach. He wraps the ball behind his back, and wow, what a bad start.
Tough way to start. 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10.
What we call the Greek church. It's double P knuckle with the 8 pin. Ball right at the end, comes right up high, just takes him right out of the middle.
Understand we had the 7-10 made this week.
That's right. Steve Gilliam made the 7-10. That's an impossible split, and he made it.
So he does what you should do, and that is get the best count possible, which in this case will be an 8.
You never know when that 1 pin's going to make a big difference, so it's best to get as many as you can. In this case, get an 8. So Roger trails by 12 pins after 1 frame.
We've seen today a bowler roll 6 strikes in a row and lose. One roll 234 and lose. So anything is definitely possible in this championship match. And Roger Kossert trying to get it back in line.
Wow.
7 pin plus the 6 equals a strike.
Did this pin come off the wall? Watch, very smooth. Nice follow through. Ball comes in there. See that head pin come right off the wall, across the lane, just grabs the 7 pin in the front part. Maybe that'll relax him.
Mark Bowers, 2nd frame. Little left-hand turn and a 7 pin.
Again, his ball came up there a little bit light. The lanes might be getting just a little bit tighter. Some oil carry down from the other couple matches. His ball's coming in there light. But you can see as this ball hits the pin, the 5 pin blocks it from getting the 7.
And he spares here in the 2nd frame. How much do the lights, the extra lights here for television, have an effect on the lane?
Well, they're going to dry it out a little bit, especially since our lights are on the right-hand side. 44 will end up a little bit drier because that's what side the light's on. But they will dry it out just a very little bit, and sometimes that's all the players need to have to make a big adjustment.
And Mark Bowers is going to finish on 43, the lane that should hook a little more. That time it does the turn, and he gets a strike.
That's more his type of ball there, that power ball. The farther he gets that ball loft on the lane and to the right, the harder that ball finishes into the pins to take him out. Had great loft there. Ball just comes right in. Pins go all over the place.
Roger Kossert, you can see in his approach, makes a real conscious effort to stay behind that ball and bring it through.
So get him within 1 pin, but he sort of dropped it. Just dropped that ball a little bit.
He gets away with a count of 9.
You can see this ball here hangs out for him. Comes in light. Fortunate enough to just leave the 3 pin. And he gets that spare to trail by 11.
Roger Kossert with 28 through 2 and a spare here in the 3rd frame. If he made a mistake, Mark Bowers is going to finish on 44. if I'm correct. Roger Kossert will finish on 43, which he is on right now.
Takes that deep concentration. Struck here last time. Maybe he can get a strike here to get started again.
And it comes right through.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. Very good here. Takes his time. You see, he's a very deliberate approach. Wow. See that pin come flying across the lane. All 10 went into the pit. See if Mark can open up his lead here to 21 with a strike.
Doubles have been no problem for him today. And he's pushing that ball away from the pocket because it was headed for the nose, and he pushed it enough.
He did all kinds of motions up there at the foul line. I wasn't quite sure what he was trying to do with the ball, but boy, when the ball hit the pins, it just took him right out of there. Just moved that 4-pin from one side of the lane to the other. Now we'll see if he can stretch his lead to 31 pins. He's been the man throwing most of the strikes here today.
At 245 in his first game, a 258 in his second, and a strike here to make it 3 in a row in his third game.
Watch this ball here as it hits strong. Boy, he just comes right through that ball. Wow, all 10 into the pit. We'll see here, Roger was high on this lane the first frame. Like the second time, he needs to find this lane in order to get back into the match.
44 has been his problem lane. No problem that time. A little light, but no problem.
That's the shot he needed. As you say, he's been hitting 43, and you can't go anywhere unless you're hitting both lanes, especially against a gentleman that's throwing a lot of strikes. See that ball come in there late, take the 5 right out.
And we saw, I think, in our first match, Arnie Goldman was rolling. It's the one lane he had problems with. He got a strike on and then relaxed a little bit on the other lane and didn't get a strike. So he has to concentrate just as much here on 43, the lane he's been doing well on.
Can get to within 11 pins here. He liked it. Oh.
Ooh. Pin on the deck, but it rolls off the back end.
Looked like he liked that when he let it go. He's shaking his head. I think he's saying he doesn't know what more he can do. I think he really thought he threw a good shot there, but you saw the 4-pin just lay in the channel. Didn't come back up and take that 7-pin. Must make this spare conversion. And he's using the same ball that he uses for his first ball. Straightens her out a little bit.
And Roger with a spare in the 6th frame. 97 through 5 plus the spare. And Mark Bowers here working on 3 in a row.
Once again, Mark can take a 30-plus lead just like he did against his other opponents. A strike here would put him up 32 pins with 4 frames to go.
Last game, he rolled 4 in a row to really put away Doug Kent. And this time, 4 in a row will really do the job here.
Did you see that 10-pin? That 10-pin was there. She was leaning to the right. This ball comes in. Awful late, but there's that 10, and boy.
Not this time.
That must have been a round bottom pin or something.
Yep.
There. That looked like it went over all by itself.
So 4 in a row for Mark Bowers.
See Roger looking at the scoreboard. He's running out of time. If Mark keeps striking, there's nothing he can do about it.
5 in a row for Mark Bowers.
Stretches his lead to 42 pins.
I'll still say, more often than not, the guy who comes in rolling is going to have the advantage, and the player has to roll the one game to win the title.
He does, because the player that's bowled more games, or at least one game, he's got nothing to lose. He's already gained a position. So he's got nothing to lose. It's the player that comes into the last game that can go from first to second that will lose the most.
So Roger Kossert, that strike in the 7th frame, definitely needs to double here.
Definitely. He's trailing by 42 pins. 3 frames to go. He's got to keep striking. It's the only hope he has. He can still finish with 237, which will force Mark to keep right on marking or strike sparing in order to beat him. Needs this strike. Looks good.
There's the necessary double. Takes him into the 8th frame.
Mark's now leading by 32. Going to probably take his time here because he knows this is a big shot. A strike here, and all he'd have to do is spare the last 2 frames to win. He can get this strike.
26-year-old Mark Bowers from Aberdeen, Maryland, puts it on the nose. And that opens the door a little bit for Roger Kossert.
Certainly does. That means now if Roger can strike out all the way for 237, he'll force Mark, even with all those strikes, to have to get a double to beat him. So if Roger can strike out, he'll make Mark have to get a double.
First cross lane spare Mark's had to shoot at today, and he gets it.
Didn't seem like he had too much confidence when he let that go.
I should have said the first spare on the right hand of the lane, but yeah, he got it. He wished it in there.
That ball slid down there, I think, a lot farther than what he thought it was going to, and came back, and he did get the 3-pin a decent amount with the ball, but not solid.
Mark won the Pennsylvania Masters Classic last year, earning $25,000, but has yet to win a regional title. And this would be his first.
Good shot.
And he strikes on 43. 197 through 8, and a big strike to load him up for the 10th frame.
Roger is trailing by 20 pins. If Roger strikes out here and gets 237, a spare and strike by Mark, and we could have a tie and go to a 9th and 10th frame roll-off. Roger's got a lot of striking to do first. Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Walked the tightrope on that one, and he leaves a 7-pin.
Well, this is a killer for him. He needed to have that. You see him lay that ball way out there. The ball came in, but came in too far in behind the head pin. The 4-pin lazily in the channel for him. Didn't bounce out. You always hate to see a person lose after leading for 20 games of a tournament in one game, but that's how it goes.
It's a Roger Kossert with 166 to 8, the spare in the 9th frame.
Roger had taken over the lead today after the 4th game. Then Parker Bohn III took over from the 5th through the 9th, and then Roger came back and took over after game 10 and was the leader going into this game. Good shot.
Nice shot on 43, and Roger's into 190s now.
This is a real good shot here. Roger followed through with the ball real well. He's looking at the scoreboard, so he sees almost no chance at all, but he followed through real well, all 10 in the pit. He strikes out for 216. Mark will need to get 5 pins on 2 balls in order to win. So there's still somewhat of a chance if he strikes out. And he's got the second one.
He's made it that the 3rd strike here could be important.
Had a bad start this game. First ball he just put right through the nose. Took him a little way to get started. Not much concentration this time for this last shot.
And a count of 6, which really doesn't help things. And a 212 for Roger Kossert, who averaged 245 for the week.
So Mark now needs a total of 3 pins on 2 balls to be our new champion.
And that looks like 3.
I'd say.
3 plus 6. Mark Bowers has won his first regional title. And you saw it here today on Channel 15, the 1989 K&H Ford PBA Eastern Regional. He's rolled a 245, a 258, and doesn't matter. 225 is good enough this day to win a title for Mark Bowers, his first regional championship ever. We'll be able to back to talk to our champion and our